What's up guys, Rhett Tollis from KST Customs. Today we're going to go through install of our 12-inch Trailblazer on a 2016 Street Glide. On 2014 to 2019 Batwing models, you can go up to 12-inch bars without changing your brake and clutch. You just need wire extensions. You can also go up, if you have ABS, you can go up to a 14-inch bar without changing your brake and clutch out. Still, you need the wire extensions. So we're going to go through a quick tear down, removing the bars. Going to go through, what all is required, what all needs to be removed. Then we're going to go through the wiring process, the internal wiring, and then we'll reassemble everything at the end. All right, so to get the handlebars off the bike, first we're going to remove the outer fairing, then we're going to remove the frame bolts. You're going to have 4 bolts on the inside of the fairing and 3 bolts on the outside of the fairing. That removes the outer shell. You've also got this inner piece here. There's 2 bolts on either side of it. We're going to remove them. And then your frame bolts, you're going to have some acorn nuts on top. Take them out, and then you have the frame bolts underneath that. All right, so now we're gonna remove the plugs. You got the left switch harness, right switch harness, and the throttle by wire. All right, so now that you have everything unplugged, you're gonna notice a zip tie that's going around the brake and clutch hydraulic lines. We're gonna remove that zip tie. That's going to give us a little extra slack. Also, you're going to pick up on the whole fairing and push the clutch hose to the other side of the neck. So now the frame bolts are removed. We can tilt the whole fairing back. This is going to expose your riser clamp that holds the bar on the bike. So just rock it backwards. Now we're going to remove our perch clamp bolts that hold our hydraulic master cylinders on. Make sure you have something to bag them up so it doesn't scratch or dent the fender or the gas tank. Now you'll notice you've got some zip ties that are holding your switch harnesses onto the stock handlebar. We're going to cut those zip ties, pull our switch harnesses out from the back side of the fairing. Just make sure that they're not catching on anything. You don't want to damage the plugs. Then we'll be ready to remove our 4 riser bolts and remove the handlebars from the bike. All right, now you got a zip tie around each riser clamp. We're going to remove those zip ties. This is going to give us the slack that we need to go up to 12-inch bars. All right, so now we're ready for the internal wiring process. First, we've got to get our stock wiring harnesses off of the stock bars. You've got your left and right switch harness is external, so we just need to remove the switch housing from the bar. The throttle by wire is going to be internal. We're just going to slide the grip off the throttle side and pull the throttle right out. Once again, making sure we don't damage any of the plugs, make sure no wires are getting pinched as well. All right, so this is the box you'll receive when you order our Vanguard Collection handlebars. So we're gonna open it up and see what's inside. All right, so we've got instructions. We've got the handlebar, we've got the base clamp. Also got our mesh sleeving. Throw a sticker in. If you order the wire extensions, they'll come in there as well. So if you order 12-inch bars, you're gonna receive, the actual bar itself is gonna be 10 inches. Your base clamp is gonna give you the additional 2 inches. So when you order 12s or when you order 10s, you're gonna get an 8-inch bar. The other 2 inches comes from the base clamp. All right, so we're gonna get our bars and everything out of the box. One thing we highly recommend is that you read over the instructions. Some very key points in there. But to differentiate the right and left of the base clamp, first we're gonna make sure that the anti-slip insert is facing up and our KST logo is on the right, looking at the rider. The KST logo will be the throttle side, the non-logo will be the clutch side. So then we're gonna take our uprights with the throttle by wire notch. That's gonna obviously be our throttle side. We're gonna insert it into the base clamp. Same thing with the non-throttle by wire side. That'll be our clutch side. Insert it into the base clamp. All right, so the uprights are made to fit really, really snug into the base clamp. So if you need to, get a rubber mallet, hold the upright, and we're just gonna tap on the bottom of the base clamp until it's flush with the bottom. Do the same thing for the other side. All right, so now we're gonna snug up the 4 bolts on the base clamp, just real gently, just to make sure that nothing slips or moves around during the wiring process. All right, so now we're ready to run our switch housings and our throttle by wire inside of the bar. We're gonna take our mesh sleeving, thread it through. We're gonna do the throttle side first. We're gonna thread our mesh sleeving through the slot and out the bottom of the tube. All right, so we're gonna run our throttle by wire harness through the end of the handle and out the slot. We're gonna hook it up to our mesh sleeving. Just go in at about 4 or 5 inches. Now we're going to hook up our switch harness into the same sleeving. All right, as you're doing this, you just want to work each harness a little bit at a time. So we go a little bit on the switch harness, a little bit on the throttle by wire harness. And when you have it exit out of the bottom of the tube, we're going to remove each harness from the wire or from the mesh sleeving. All right, so we're gonna make sure that the throttle-by-wire assembly is seated good inside of the throttle-by-wire cutout. Also gonna make sure that the switch housing is seated good on the handle tube. Make sure your wires are not pinched or in a bind. Now we're gonna slide our grip on. Make sure the gears engage. And we're gonna put our switch covers on. If you'll notice on the throttle grip, you've got this ring here. We're gonna make sure that our switch covers go just on the outside of that ring so that the handle will not come out. Snug these up where you can still move them and get them exactly where you want them during the final assembly. All right, so now that we have the throttle side complete, we're essentially gonna do the exact same thing on the clutch side, minus the throttle-by-wire harness. All right, if you purchase the wire extensions, now we're gonna plug them up. You have one that has 2 plugs on it. That's gonna be for our right switch housing. One that has a single plug, that's gonna be for our left switch housing. Pretty cut and dry on how they plug up. All right, now we've gotten all of our switch harnesses run inside of our handlebar. We're ready to assemble the bars onto the bike. All right, with 10 and 12-inch bars, your stock fairing mounted mirrors are gonna be pretty useless. Couple options, we sell a drop-down kit that lowers the stock positioning of the mirrors 3.5 inches. Keeps everything sleek, you don't have any mirrors sticking up on the handlebar. It's just going to drop them down just a little bit so that they are visible. You cannot see them from the front of the bike, so everything still stays nice and concealed, but it's going to give you some visibility on your mirrors. Another option we have the hole plugs. You can completely remove the fairing mounted mirrors and go with a bar mounted mirror if that's what you choose. So just a couple options there. Now we're going to mount our bars on the bike. We're going to just sit them in the riser clamp and snake our switch harnesses down through the fairing. Now we're going to assemble our top riser clamp. We're just going to snug it up. We're not going to tighten anything. And then we're going to roll the fairing up, check, make sure that the base clamp is centered. If we need to slide it one way or another, we'll be able to. Also, we need to make sure that the base clamp is rotated as far against the fairing as possible to make sure that we have tank clearance when we turn. All right, we're gonna roll our fairing up and make sure that our base clamp is centered. All right, the other thing we're gonna check while we're here, just eyeball these top bolt holes that are going in the frame, and let's make sure that the bar is as far forward against the fairing with still allowing those bolts to go through and mount to the frame. So once you make sure that your base clamp is centered and that you've got the base clamp rotated as far forward as it'll go and still giving you the ability to mount your frame bolts, giving you the gas tank clearance when you turn left to right, we're going to remove our foam and we're going to mount our brake and clutch master cylinders. All right, now we're ready to rotate our fairing up, plug in our switch harnesses and our throttle by wire harness, and we'll be ready to finish up the installation process, put all our fairing bolts in, all our frame bolts in, and finish her up. And we're going to mount the lower cap. Another product that we're going to add here is our trailer tie downs. We have these available online. Just makes trailering your bike easy. It goes in right underneath the blinker, uses all the stock bolts. You've got a nice little hook here to hook a ratchet strap to and tie it down to your trailer. All right, once you've tightened these bolts down and you've got your plug run through the slot for your blinker connection, we're going to overlay the blinker assembly on top of it and put our acorn nuts on top of that to hold it in place. Just make sure that the plug is not in a bind, nothing's getting pinched before you tighten these acorn nuts down. All right, we're going to repeat the same process for the other side as well. Now we're ready to assemble our outer fairing shell. First we're going to plug in our headlight, then assemble the 3 bolts on the windshield. It's got little teeth here at the bottom. They just kind of nest in it. Check all your gasket seals around the fairing and make sure that they're all intact. Now we're going to insert our 4 inner fairing bolts and our 2 inner cap bolts. On the inner fairing, you're going to have one here by the mirror, one down by the blinker, same on the other side. And then your inner cap bolts, you're going to have one on each side here. All right, the final step is tailoring the fitment, to your liking. This is where the full benefits of the Vanguard Collection come into play. So sit on the bike, adjust the pullback, to where you want it. You can turn it in, push it out farther. On the street glides, you lose the adjustment in the base clamp. Like I mentioned before in the video, The base clamp needs to go as far forward against the fairing as possible to ensure that you have tank clearance when you turn. So yeah, just hop on the bike, adjust the pullback where you want it. Also, we're gonna adjust the switch housings and the master cylinders where we feel comfortable with them, and then tighten everything up. Once we get the pullback set to where we want it, we're gonna get a torque wrench and we're gonna tighten our 4 base clamp bolts up to 30 foot-pounds of pressure. That completes the installation of our 12-inch Trailblazer bars from our Vanguard collection. This was on a 2016 Street Glide. We also installed a set of our mirror drop-down brackets and our trailer tie-down brackets. If you have any questions, please comment below or contact us through kstkustoms.com. We'll see you next time.